On this episode of ResiWeek, InfoComm moves to October and Human-Centric Lighting. All this and more on this episode of ResiWeek.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is ResiWeek, episode 262, Steam My Beard.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by Middle Atlantic. What great systems are built on.
Welcome to this episode of ResiWeek. This is your weekly wrap-up of all the latest news and stories for the residential AV industry. I'm your host, Matt T. Scott for AVNation.tv. And this week, I'm pleased to be joined by three of my good friends. First, we have Mr. Seth Johnson. He is the software development manager for Blackwire Design. How you doing, Seth?
Great. Down here in sunny, warmish Sarasota, I guess. It's warmer. Warmish. Warmer than where you are, from what I understand.
Almost everything's warmer than what I am right now. It's stinking cold up here. Then we have, we're not going to go up. We're going to go up and then back down. Then we have Mark Feinberg. He is the president of Home Theater Advisors in somewhat chilly New York City.
We're in like the high 20s, Matt. I know not as bad as you've got it up
cold
there, but still cold for me.
High 20s is not warm by any stretch of the imagination.
And I'm the moron who coaches my son's outdoor winter flag football team, so spent the day yesterday in the snow.
See, I would happily spend the day in the snow if I could go stand on snow with long sticks, but I can't legally do that yet.
No, you cannot.
Thanks for that, Mr. Ford. Yeah, somebody send this to him. That'll be great. Last but certainly not least, we have my good friend, Mr. Stephen Bronner. He's the owner of Pro Audio Georgia, who has been getting a little bit of our weather. You're welcome.
Man, you need to come and get your weather. It's drunk. It's down here. It's making all kinds of mess. I'm over it. I hope you guys are having an awesome day, man.
We're having a great day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump right in. This was announced late last week. We couldn't, unfortunately, get it in last week's show because it wasn't announced yet. So we're going to talk about it this week. This comes to us from AVNation.tv. InfoComm 2021 is moving from June to October. That annual AV trade show has been postponed until the fall. It's officially going to be held October 22nd through 29th. The exhibit floor will be open October 27th through the 29th as well. This is going to be in lovely Orlando, Florida. Seth, as a Floridian, just, hey, you're there, so it's fitting really well. When you see this postponement, I can't say that I was shocked or surprised. I'm assuming neither were you. What does this mean for the InfoComm show of 2021? Is this a postponement that will allow it to go forward, or do you think this is a postponement where it'll be mostly a digital show this year too?
I think it allows them to hedge bets a little bit, right? And delay and see how well vaccine rollouts go, how well travel ban restrictions get lifted. You know, getting to Orlando is not such a big deal. And if you're in the States or in Florida specifically, it's pretty easy to move around. But if you're outside the country, it's very tough to get in and back out. So I think what we're going to see with these shows is kind of a wait and see approach to see. This gives them a little bit more breathing room to do more planning, to put more digital if they have to start leaning on digital a little bit more, and maybe do a little bit of both. I really do think a little bit of both is the right answer. Not so much having the you can't do the floor and that kind of thing digitally. I don't think that's worked out well, but certainly some of the education or all the education can be done virtually, just about. So I think that could be. This could give them time, a little bit of extra breathing room to make those tough decisions on what's going to be in person and digital.
I do agree that the ability to have the show, and especially the education, available digitally, whether it goes forward or not, it really needs to be a must these days. I'm fully in favor of that. Mark, when you see this, knowing that CEDIA Expo is 2 months after this, 3 months after this, in September, it's scheduled for Indiana. It's supposed to be in Indianapolis at the convention center there. It's been a couple years since it's been in Indy. It's coming back. Indiana is fairly open. do you see this as a precursor to Expo being either delayed or extended, or do you think that this won't necessarily have a bearing on Expo?
I think it's going to have a bearing on Expo. I look at this, and in looking at InfoComm, I say, yeah, vaccine should be the general population. Those who want the vaccine should be able to get it by then. That's what all of the predictions are saying. Now, the question is, for these shows, I don't know what kind of a window they have before they have to make that final call of whether they actually have the show or not. How much, there's got to be a ton of lead up that they need to do. What?
90 days.
90 days, right. So, in, what are we, 3 months away, 4 months away from CDA having to make that call, they're not going to be in a position to make that call. I don't think we're going to be in a position to make the call for InfoComm, because they're saying vaccines should be fully rolled out by end of summer, which is August, September timeframe. So yeah, I don't think they can make a call for anything really before November, December.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're just kind of rolling the dice. So, and then what are they going to do? Are they going to require people to be vaccinated to come? I mean, how are they going to police that and be sure of that? You're going to have to provide, your vaccine passport in order to get into the show. I would like to see that, but I don't think that politically they can pull that off, especially in Indiana.
Especially in Indiana. Stephen, let me ask you this: if both of these shows go forward, whether it's InfoComm in October, which I think is likely, CEDIA in September, which I think is maybe less likely. I have a feeling that one might get pushed a little bit as well. But notwithstanding, if both of those shows go off at some point in person this year in 2021, do you think that these shows are going to become hyper regional? And what I mean by that is, I know for myself, I currently cannot leave the country without a lot of restrictions that incur a lot of costs when I come back. So even if I could get to InfoComm in June, when it was originally scheduled to be placed in June, I likely would not going to go if I could not get back without the restrictions here. Do you think these are going to become essentially U.S. shows for the next little bit?
I don't know about just U.S. I think that our country right now is so split. The medical experts, as they call themselves, can't keep their story straight. The doctors don't know what to believe. It's really weird. I spoke to a doctor the other day that he told me, he said, honestly, we're doing the best we can. We just don't have the information. So, and people like to point out that this Dr. Fauci guy that can't seem to keep his story straight as well. So what we're experiencing is the scientific method being exposed in public. People don't know what to think. So do you have somebody like myself, I'm in Georgia. Okay. In Georgia, we don't do all that lockdown stuff. It's just not happening. If you feel well enough to walk around outside, walk around outside. You wear your face mask when you go inside. I wear a mask to make other people comfortable. I have the antibodies. I'm not going to make myself or anyone else sick, but I do it to make other people comfortable. I think the show will be a U.S. only show this year, only this year, out of fear. But out of pure public safety, I don't know. What I hate is the fact that I know we're going to go to these shows and there's going to be mass Nazis. And honestly, I don't hate the mask for any medical reason. It messes up my beard game. And that, just to be honest with you, it sucks, man. I mean, when you put a mask on with a beard, you are steaming the hair. Therefore, when I take my mask off, my beard is still shaped like the mask. I hate it. That's why I hate it. I'm not looking forward to CEDIA or InfoComm because of the mass Nazis. But I do think they're both going to go off. I think that an important lesson was learned this past year that digital conferences are garbage and nobody attends and nobody cares. InfoComm what was the show that just happened in January?
CES.
CES just happened and nobody even knew. Our industry likes to talk about it like somebody knew, but nobody gave a crap. It was literally nobody paid attention. So yeah, I think the shows will go off, but digital shows are garbage, and nobody's going to attend that. So if I can't be face to face, I won't go. And if I do go, I don't know how much in-show stuff I'm going to do because I don't care for the mass Nazis.
Yeah, I think digital shows, I'm gonna say the digital shows that we've seen, we've been part of, and maybe that our industry's taken part in, have been garbage. And I think that the reason they are is not so much that that format doesn't work, but it's just not been done right. And it's going to take some time to figure out how to do it right. It's going to take some time to get all those ducks in a row. But I think the digital show can be a little more powerful and be used better in better ways if done correctly. Especially in conjunction with something like a trade show floor where you actually go in. I mean, you can't get a 4K HDR experience over a digital show. The image is never going to look better than your computer monitor, right? So you're going to have to go and check out the equipment. Is that smaller regional events? Maybe. Is it something that you actually physically have to go to every year and see? Maybe. But I definitely think, especially along what we were talking about earlier with education, there's absolutely no reason to have to like gather everybody in one place one time per year to do these education classes. Let's have that rolling out, steamrolling once a month, every month, or classes every month, all year round.
Seth, I
make it
completely agree with you.
24/7.
I mean, I would love to see that go long term. I don't think that needs to be just throughout this.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason I should have to schlep my installers to CEDIA to get some of that training, right, when they can, and pay for hotels and pay for their days they're not working and lose the work in the field and pay for flights when they can do most of that virtually. I mean, listen, would I like to bring them occasionally? Sure. I don't think I need to bring them every year for training when they can do that virtually. And the virtual trainings, I think, are no different. I mean, than sitting in a conference room in a conference center in a big ballroom looking at a screen.
There's definitely
what's cool is the tools have been built for that, right? Like
Right.
we're figuring out how to use these tools now, and I think we're gonna supercharge that moving into the future. Hopefully.
Yeah, I agree.
And I am 100% in agreement that the trainings could be done year round. And I am interested in Seth's opinion about the stuff just not being done right. Once again, we are all the result of a combined experience in life, and my experience has been limited to what our industry has done. I've never seen a digital show done well. So I would be interested to see what that looks like.
I think it has to be, or has to come down to the fact that too often everyone tries to replicate that in-person experience. They try to do a trade show floor. They try to do a product demonstration. They try to do, all those things that we love about going to a trade show. They want that peer-to-peer networking. And I'm sorry, I already have enough networking apps. I don't need to use your, show app to funnel me into a networking group to talk to people that I may or may not want to talk to. Hey, thanks for watching the first segment of this week's episode. To catch the entire show, please click the link below or visit avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv.